Welcome to a new video. Today we're taking a look at what could be called the return of the traditional platformer Yooka-Laylee, and whether you should be hyped for the game or not. As you may have noticed, Yooka-Laylee bears more than a passing resemblance to another popular platformer from the 90s, Banjo-Kazooie. Yooka-Laylee isn't a simple copy, however. Playtonic Games, the developer of the game, are largely made up of the original developers of Banjo-Kazooie, such as Chris Sutherland, who was a project director and was the lead programmer at Rare, Gavin Price and Steve Mayles, making this a true spiritual successor to those games. This is great to see, as Microsoft, who bought Rare and in turn franchises such as Banjo-Kazooie in 2002, really haven't done all that much with the series except for Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in 2008, which wasn't actually a bad game in itself. It just wasn't a good Banjo game, or really reminiscent of what a Banjo game is or should be. Rare are currently developing Sea of Thieves, due this year for the Xbox One. Yooka-Laylee came into being back in 2015 when they placed their concept on Kickstarter, looking for fans to help fund the game. Naturally, people were pretty excited for many of the original Rare team to make another platformer. The Kickstarter reached its target of £175,000 in a ridiculously fast time, and by the time it had finished, the project had amassed a huge sum of £2,100,000, smashing all its stretch goals such as console releases, boss battles, transformations, multiplayer and more. What's potentially great about this project is that it's one of the few heavily backed Kickstarter games that looks like it could fulfill the promise of quality it made, where many haven't. Yes, I'm looking directly at you, Kenji Inafune and Mighty No. 9. It won't be long before we find out for ourselves what Yooka-Laylee is like, as it comes out on April 11th on a range of platforms from the PS4, Xbox One, PC and Nintendo Switch, releasing sometime in the future. The review embargo ends on the 4th of April, which is when we should start seeing reviews crop up. What's great about Yooka-Laylee is, despite how familiar it feels from the soundtrack to the gibberish conversations, it manages to just about distinguish itself enough to feel fresh. Yooka is the green chameleon, whilst Laylee is the purple bat. Both of their designs are pretty distinctive, whilst familiar, and I actually really like them, possibly more than their inevitable duo comparison. As you might expect from the original devs at Rare, the game comes with a cast of zany characters. For example, a character named Trouser, which is literally a snake wearing trousers who will sell Yooka and Laylee abilities. Graphically, the game is no powerhouse, however it's not the type of game that needs to be. It's the art style and general aesthetic that makes it so great to look at, which was also the case in the last episode with Persona 5, where it was the art style and animation that made the game so pleasing to the eyes. The game runs at a native 1080p and of course higher resolutions on PC, although there is currently no PS4 Pro patch, so don't expect any better visuals aside from the benefits of PS4 Pro boost mode. From what I understand, worlds work in the same way that Super Mario 64's did. You have a hub, which I believe is called Highbury Towers, with various worlds you can access within that hub area, which in turn are called Grand Tomes. Worlds are quite large and can actually be increased by doing various things that can actually make them larger. Each world has a distinctive look, as you might expect, such as snowy environments to a casino-themed level. Within some of the worlds, if not potentially all, there'll be times you can transform Yooka and Laylee into vehicles such as a truck or helicopter, for example, which changes up the gameplay, which, as previously mentioned, was one of the stretch goals that was reached. In each world you have collectibles, something that you would expect from most platformers, and it's no different here. In Yooka-Laylee, one of the collectibles is called Pages, which is essentially what the music note-like collectibles were in Banjo-Kazooie. There are 25, I believe, in each level, varying in difficulty. Some will obviously be quite easy and some will be relatively hard to collect. Additionally, there are arcade machines you can find, one in each world that in turn, once you've collected them, there will be minigames you can play, so there is additional content there for you to go back and try to complete once you beat the levels. These levels can be played in local multiplayer, which you most likely won't spend a ton of time in, however it's there and probably a quick blast of fun with some friends. Now onto a slightly more negative side, there's been a little bit of controversy, which I'm sure many of you have heard by now, over Yooka-Laylee and the patching out of the John Chon cameo in the game, which I won't go into detail over. You'll most likely have your own opinion on the situation, and I don't plan to sway anybody either way, nor do I think I really need to weigh in on it. The other issue is potential performance issues with the game, relating to frame rate on consoles and the camera. The target FPS for consoles is 30 frames per second, however many reviewers who currently have the game have hinted that the game struggles to hit this most of the time, as well as stutters an awful lot. We won't know how drastic this is or how much it will affect the game at this point. Lastly, the camera is rather archaic and can feel a struggle to use at times. So, should you be hyped for the game? For the most part, yes, Yooka-Laylee looks great and brings a long dead traditional platformer back with a bang, with plenty of charm and rare-like feel that's been missing for years. However, due to the potential performance issues, I think you should absolutely wait for reviews that should be up on the 4th of April before jumping in, as this could make a good game otherwise hard to play. I really do hope Yooka-Laylee is critically well received, as I think it will encourage more developers to produce more traditional platformers. We also have Crash Bandicoot The Insane Trilogy releasing in June, which is a remaster of the traditional platformer Crash games, which I hope does well also. That's it for today's video. Are you thinking about picking up Yooka-Laylee, or will you decide once reviews come out to see how well it runs? Click the thumbnail on the left to watch the last episode on Persona 5, or the one on the right to watch my last video. If you liked the video, leave a like and sub. Thanks for watching as usual, and see you on the next video.